Yo, what's up, guys? It's Sam checking in once again here for you guys from Morocco. I had just spent the last month in Marrakesh, which is a city southeast of where I currently am. I'm currently located in a city named Chefchaouen. I will be making more videos on those two cities, but I wanted to step back in today and do a vlog for you guys. It's been a little while since I've shared some of my experiences with you guys, and on this channel I try to be very real and straightforward and offer you examples of where I messed up so that you can learn from my mistakes and travel better and more efficiently and for less money than I do. Those of you who have been following my channel for a little while now know that I spent the last year in South America, and now I am actually located here in Africa, in Morocco. When I was first coming here, I had spent a couple days in Europe, in Portugal, and Spain. And so as soon as I got to Europe, I realized that I wanted to come to Africa just because I realized that the prices for things, living expenses, and food in general tend to be a little bit higher in Europe, at least in Western Europe, than they are in Africa or, for example, Morocco. And so that was really the biggest reason why I wanted to come to Morocco in the first place, and also, of course, to see Africa. And so one thing that I had learned when I was traveling around in South America is that you don't really want to take too much of the local currency with you into another country, because it will make things a lot easier for you when you are exchanging your currency and getting the new currency for the country that you are now living in. Okay, and so I kind of used that same approach when I was moving from Spain over into Morocco. I didn't actually carry too many euros with me, and so I thought that I was just going to go to Morocco and use the ATM there and be fine, right? Well, in this case, I didn't really have a good experience, and so I want to tell you guys the story behind what happened, so that way next time anybody else who's in a similar position traveling to Morocco can learn not to do this. Okay, and so the reason I went to Europe first is because I wanted to come to Morocco, but it was cheaper with the plane tickets to go to Europe and go specifically to Spain first. And so that's what I did. I went to Madrid and I was there for one day, one night before I realized, oh my goodness, it's too expensive. I want to get out of here so I can afford to live. Because I didn't realize how expensive it would be to find a hotel. I just assumed that it would be really easy to find a hostel. But long story short, the hostels are a little bit different in Madrid. It seems like they're more housing for people who live there full time. But anyways, I wanted to come to Morocco. And so the first thing I did on the second day that I was in Spain is I came all the way down to a city on the southern border known as Algeciras. And the reason I went there is because I wanted to take a ferry over into Morocco, into the city of Tangiers. And so that morning when I was in Madrid, I had actually met somebody who was from Morocco who spoke pretty decent Spanish, and so I was talking to him, and he said that he was going to help me get into Morocco that night. At the time, it was really early in the morning, so I felt pretty comfortable and confident going with him and being able to make it to Morocco that night. Well, typically what I do when I travel to a new country, or at least what I did in South America a lot of, is not booking a hotel before actually showing up to the new city that I was going to. I've discovered that a lot of the online places like Booking.com, Hostelworld, well, they actually charge an upfront fee, which does not go to the hotel, it goes to the website. And so to avoid this, I started going to cities, especially in South America, without any sort of plan or hotel or any of that, because I assumed I could just walk around the city and be fine. Okay, and so I carried that same approach when I came into Morocco. Okay, and so basically what happened is I took a bus from Madrid to Algeciras. It took me quite a bit of time, and so I was with that man that I had met in Madrid who was from Morocco, and he didn't really speak any English. He spoke Arabic, obviously, because that's the language here in Morocco, but he spoke enough Spanish where we could kind of meet on a common ground. And so basically he had told me that if I wasn't able to find a hotel, that he would let me stay with him at his place outside of Rabat. Okay, and so I initially planned to go to the city of Marrakesh. That's just where I wanted to go. Okay, but like I said, I didn't book a hotel, and I actually honestly assumed that I would be spending most of the night traveling and that I would just have to wait around for a few hours in the morning to find a hotel in that morning. Okay, but I didn't really have a good experience this time because I wasn't really smart with how I planned this. Okay, this person that I actually went to Morocco with, he took me to Morocco and took me to the city of Tangiers and helped me through customs and helped me with getting my visa and all that, getting my bags checked and all that. And I got into the country pretty straightforward, no questions asked. They just stamped my visa and I filled out a piece of paper, right? And so that was the hard part, the part that I was most concerned with. And I got through that, and I was in the city of Tangiers with this man. And so now we were at a point where he was going to go to his place, and I wanted to go to Marrakesh. And so he actually lived in a place outside of Rabat, but he wanted to take a bus that went directly there at 12 a.m. was at the time that we were in Tangiers. So it's 12 a.m. I'm in the city of Tangiers, which is in the northern part of Morocco, right south of Spain. And so I figured I might as well just go to Marrakesh tonight. And so I asked him to book me a ticket to Marrakesh. I made it very clear on several occasions. This is where I want to go. I want to go to this place named Marrakesh. Of course he knows what that is. It's one of the biggest cities in Morocco. Okay. And so somewhere along the lines it got confused, or both of us got confused. Like I said, he spoke Spanish a little bit, but not, I think my Spanish was better than his, honestly. And there were certain points where we became confused with each other and basically just stopped talking because of the language barrier. Okay, but he was still very nice and very helpful and wanting to help me. What actually happened is, like I said, I didn't really come into the country with a whole lot of money. Okay, I came in with probably about 28 euros if I'm remembering correctly. And so when I first got into Tangiers, the taxi driver switched me over my money and gave me a pretty good deal. Okay, so I had about 280 dirham. 1 euro is about 10 dirham. And that's a pretty good amount of money, but not as much as I needed, okay? And so the man was helping me book a ticket from Tangier to Marrakesh. And so I asked him to book me a ticket to Marrakesh. And he ended up actually giving me a ticket to a city that I didn't actually plan or intend on going to, which is the capital city, Rabat. Okay, for some reason he assumed that I wanted to go to Rabat. I wanted to go to Tangiers, and so I ended up getting dropped off at a bus station at 2 a.m. in Rabat, a place that I did not want to go to. People were looking at me on the bus and they were kicking me off because my ticket said Rabat. For some reason, I didn't even bother to check because they did actually put the city name Rabat, but I was just so tired at this point. I got into Tangiers at around midnight, and I was wanting to just go to Marrakesh and find a hotel. And I assumed that I was going to be traveling a lot longer than I was. And so, like I said, it was 2 a.m. at this point. I'm in the city of Rabat, and I'm dropped off at a bus station. So, of course, I'm not really going to want to walk around the city to find a hotel at 2 a.m. And so I ended up just staying at the bus station. That's what they advised me to do. Okay. And so I would have actually paid for that ticket from Rabat to Marrakesh at that time. But what happened is since I didn't actually bring in enough money, I couldn't pay them with cash right then and there. Okay, and so I actually asked them to use my card, and they said, no, the card system is down. You're going to have to go to a different company, and you're going to have to wait till 10:30 in the morning. And so that's what really made me decide to sleep in the city of Rabat at the bus station for that night until the morning. Okay, and so I figured, okay, whatever, I'll just sleep here until the morning, then I'll figure it out. Right, well, I fell asleep, I woke up, and I assumed that I could just go to the ATM to pull out cash and then go back to that same bus company to book my ticket over to Marrakesh, right? Well, it wasn't that simple, okay? There was 3 ATMs that were right next to the bus station where I was in Rabat. And conveniently, none of them actually worked with my American card. And so there I am, sitting in the city of Rabat, which really at that time was not my most favorite place in the world. In fact, I was not happy in the time and situation that I was in, and I couldn't use the ATM, and I was almost out of money. I had about 10 dirham, or about $1 in my pocket, because the rest of it had been spent on travel and food from the night before. And so there I am in Rabat. It's about 10 a.m. and I have no money, and I can't actually pull out more money because I can't go use the ATM, and the bus companies that I want to use don't take American cards. They only take cash. And so I'm stuck in a situation where I don't know what to do. And so I'm walking around for 2 hours just trying to get help from bankers, trying to find a way out of this. And I ended up staying at a cafe, a coffee shop for a little while, because I initially thought that they had canceled my card, my bank in America, because I figured that they didn't realize that I was in Morocco, even though I told them I was going to Morocco, and I thought hey, maybe they just canceled my card. And so I sent them an email, and I asked them to uncancel my card. Well, long story short, my card wasn't canceled. It was actually the ATMs. The ATMs were not working with my card, and they were not supposed to work with my card. And so, as I said, there was 3 ATMs, 3 separate ATMs in that area, in that vicinity, in Rabat, where I was, and none of them worked with my American card. And so I really started freaking out because there I was without any money, and I had my 2 backpacks worth of stuff, and no way of going to Marrakesh, and no guarantee that I was even going to be able to use an ATM in Morocco. So I was really freaking out at this point. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And so I walked around the area of the bus station probably around 2-3 times, just asking all these different bus companies, hey, can you help me out? Can you take me to Marrakesh? I'll pull out money in the ATM there. I'm just trying to figure out a way to get to Marrakesh, because I had assumed that when I got there I was just going to be able to use the ATM, even though Rabat is technically the capital city. But for some reason I thought that if I got to Marrakesh everything would be fine. Okay, but since none of the bus companies that were in the area accepted my card, I was stuck in a position where I thought I was just going to be out of money and having no way out of my position, and that I was just screwed. Okay, and so after talking to all these different bus companies and making my position clear to them on several occasions, they eventually sent me over to the police. Okay, and let me tell you, talking to police people, and when they don't even speak your language, is not very easy trying to explain yourself. And so I tried over the course of about 15 minutes telling her, oh my goodness, I have money on this card, but I can't use the card at the ATM. And so for a while they just assumed that I was lying and that I was broke and I didn't have any money. And so they told me to leave probably about 2-3 times, figure it out on your own. But you know, I was really desperate at this point, and so I was trying to do everything that I could. I had her bring up Google Translate English to Arabic on her phone, and so eventually I was able to tell her, if you can take me to a bus company that accepts card, I will be fine. Okay, and so long story short, after 2-3 hours of freaking out and struggling, this police officer was really nice in the end and brought me over to a company that took American cards, and I was safely able to make it to Marrakesh. Now, of course, at this point I hadn't eaten in about a day, so I was really hungry, but thankfully I found another restaurant that accepted card, and I was able to eat and subside that hunger for a little bit. So eventually, when I got to Marrakesh, I went into the downtown ancient Medina area, and thankfully, oh my goodness, was able to use an ATM for the first time. And so at that point I let out a deep exhale, and I was just so glad to be alive at that point, because I had spent hours contemplating whether or not I was actually going to survive the situation that I was in Rabat. But thankfully it all worked out, and even though I didn't technically have money because I couldn't use the ATM for a little while, I survived, and here I am now almost a month and a half later in the city of Chefchaouen. But that's my story of how I ran out of money and was stranded in Morocco. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do want to ensure that I don't ever for real run out of money, I set up a Patreon so that you can potentially, if you want, to support me in my travels, because I want to keep sharing my experiences, and sharing experiences that are negative specifically, so that anybody who wants to live a similar lifestyle can learn from all of my bad mistakes and be better and do this better than I ever have. And so that's my story for you guys, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Peace.